Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes. So, so today's topic that we will be starting is the resins. Okay. Um, I will be sharing the PPT soon. Till that, anyone would like to let me know what are resins exactly? What are resins?
They are kind of polymers.
Yes, they are kind of polymers is not the correct word because polymers means one unit multiple times. Resins are not exactly polymers. What else? Basic one line can you give me that whether it is a organized drug or an unorganized drug?
Unorganized.
Correct. It's an unorganized drug, which also means that which also means that
Their morphological characters are not specific or characterized features.
correct. So in very general terms, if I want to say, then they are not divided into an organized system. That is, they organized means organs. Okay. So it does not have specific organs like root, stem, leaf. Okay, that is what is meant by unorganized. Okay, so they are unorganized, they will not have specific organs or specific morphological characters. Okay, so yes, that is one thing basic about resins. Okay, sharing with you the presentation. Just 1 second. Yes, so how we are going to cover the lecture? Introduction, which consists of definition, classification, chemical properties, extraction, and isolation. Then in the second part, we will be covering drugs. Third, also, we will be covering some more drugs. And finally, we will be looking at some of the MCQs. Okay. Videos I have written, but that is not for live lecture. Okay. This is going live. So we will complete the entire resins in today's lecture because videos I have to make short. Okay, so this is the four different parts of resins what we will be studying. So starting with the first part, that is introduction to resins. Okay, yes. So what are resins? They are more or less solid, amorphous products of complex chemical nature. So when I say complex chemical nature, it is well understood that it has um, complicated structures. Okay, they are mixtures of essential oils. What are essential oils? They are nothing but volatile oils. Volatile oils only are also called as essential oils, oxygenated products of terpenes and carboxylic acids. Okay, when I say oxygenated product of terpenes means terpenoids. Okay, now what are terpenoids or what are terpenes? We'll be looking at this particular topic also in the coming days. But right now, for understanding, one thing you have to understand is terpenes are nothing but the compounds containing the basic structure of C5H8. Okay, the compounds containing the basic structure of C5H8 are nothing but terpenes. And when I say oxygenated products, that means it will have oxygen, and then they are called as terpenoids. Okay. So basically, when we study terpenoids, it is divided into two parts. One is volatile oils, and the second part of terpenoids is resins. So right now we are going to study the second part, which is known as resins. And it will also have in it carboxylic acids, not terpenes, are resins, found as exudations from the trunk of various trees. Okay, exudations means when we study the preparation of resins or extraction of resins, that time this part will be more clear. They are transparent or translucent solids, semi-solids or liquid substances containing large number of carbon atoms. So plant resins were first documented. Okay, so that is why I was saying when we say large number of carbon atoms, it does not mean that they are polymers. Okay, polymer is something which have repetitive units of a monomer. It is not true in case of resins. Okay, plant resins were first documented by Theophrastus in Greece and Pliny and Elder in Rome. Okay, this is some fact about resins. Then rosin is nothing but a solidified resin from which volatile terpenes have been removed by distillation. Okay, so if you want pure rosin, okay, to be extracted, then by distillation you can remove the terpenes from it. Okay, so that then you will what is obtained is rosin. Like you can see here that they are transparent and translucent, and this is how it falls out from the tree, like tears of agar. Okay, somewhat similar thing. Okay, they are known as tears. What are the physical properties of resins? Mostly they are heavier than water, having specific gravity ranging from, what is specific gravity? Yes guys,
Uh,
what is हाँ बोलो.
Gravity means not that general gravity that is 9.8, that their value can be different.
No, yeah, that is not, that gravity is different. What is specific gravity? Specific gravity is nothing but density. ओके, फिजिकल फार्मेसी में किया होगा प्रैक्टिकल्स में, यूजिंग अ
Yes.
5 ml 10 ml बॉटल और वायल. ठीक है, डेंसिटी. So that is nothing but specific gravity ranging from 0.9 to 1.25, which means it is heavier than water generally. Okay, water has density of 1. Okay, close to 1. On being heated at a relatively low temperature, resins will first get softened. Okay, and ultimately it will melt down, thereby forming either an adhesive or sticky massive fluid like Fevicol. Okay, somewhat like Fevicol, not exactly, but that is what is the consistency of resin once it is melted down. Okay, at higher temperature, sorry, at low temperature, not at very high, because if it is at very high temperature, then it undergoes decomposition. Okay, so without undergoing any sort of decomposition or volatilization. Now, why I am saying here volatilization? Because it contains, as we saw, it contains a mixture of essential oils as well, right? So essential oils, when I'm saying, they are nothing but volatile oils. They are volatile in nature. So it has to be melted down at relatively low temperature. On being heated in the air, that is in the presence of oxygen, resins usually burn readily with a smoky flame by virtue of the presence of large number of carbon atoms in their structure. Okay, so because of the presence of large number of carbon atoms in the structure, they are being heated at sorry, they burn with a smoky flame. On being heated in a closed container, that is in the absence of oxygen, they will undergo decomposition and very often give rise to empyreumatic products. Now, what are these empyreumatic products? They are products chiefly comprising of hydrocarbons. Okay, so they will undergo decomposition. Now, from this all, you can clearly understand that they are bad conductors of electricity. Okay, so they are basically, they, I will say, they are also good insulators. So resinous substances are used as insulating agents as well. Apart from its pharmaceutical or therapeutic application, this is one commercial application of resins. Okay. Now, what are the different chemical properties of resins? They are generally enriched with carbon, deprived of nitrogen, and contain little oxygen in their respective molecules. Majority of them undergo slow atmospheric oxidation, whereby their color gets darkened with impaired solubility. Now, then, resins are found to be a mixture of numerous compounds rather than a single pure chemical entity. Their chemical properties are exclusively based upon the functional groups present in these substances. Resins are regarded as complex mixture of a variety of substances such as resinotenols, resin acids, resin esters, resin alcohols, and resin. Okay, so they are a mixture of a variety of substances. Now, when I say this resinotenols, resin acids, resin esters, they when we when we study further the classification of resins, that time this will be very well understood. What are resin alcohols? What are resin? Okay. The acidic resins, when they are treated with alkaline solutions, they yield soaps which are known as resin soaps. Okay. So this is nothing but the chemical properties of resins. Now let us see what is the solubility of resins. So they are practically insoluble in water. Okay, this is very well now understood because they are large compounds containing a mixture of as we saw, uh, it has mixture of carboxylic acids, then it has oxygenated products of terpenes. Okay, which itself means that they are very large products. So because of which, since they are very large products, they are practically insoluble in water. Then they are freely soluble in many organic solvents, namely acetone, carbon disulfide, as well as in fixed oils and volatile oils. Then they are soluble in non-polar organic solvents like benzene and n-hexane. So what will its polarity become when they are soluble in polar organic solvents? So they are completely soluble. Okay, now completely soluble, freely soluble, insoluble, this all terminologies are different. Okay, that means one in if I have to explain this terminologies are as per IP. Okay, when I say practically insoluble or insoluble, then comes soluble, then comes very soluble, then comes freely soluble, and then comes completely soluble. So depending on that, the solubility, like say for example, if I have to take example of sugar and salt in water. Okay, so sugar will be completely soluble, salt will be
Soluble.
freely soluble. Okay, so that is how the solubility differs. Okay, so one in how many parts of water, okay, of the solid is soluble, that will give its solubility profile. Okay, it is completely soluble in a number of polar organic solvents like ethanol, ether, and chloroform, thereby forming their respective solutions, which on evaporation leaves behind a thin varnish like film deposit. Then they are insoluble in case of petroleum ether, but with a few exceptions. Example for this is colophony, which is freshly powdered. Okay, colophony and mastic, they are insoluble in petroleum. Sorry, they are soluble in case of pet ether. Other all resins are insoluble in pet ether. Then resins dissolve in chloral hydrate solution, normally employed for clarification of certain sections of plant organs. So whenever you want to remove resins, okay, which if a plant substance contains high amount of resins, then when you see the microscope, it will all be looking black, 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 which means that if you want completely soluble thing, then you have to dissolve this resinous matter. And how it can be dissolved? The resinous matter can be dissolved by adding chloral hydrate to it. Okay, that is why we say chloral hydrate is also an clearing agent. Okay, it is a clarifying agent, so that will remove out or dissolve out all the resinous material that is present. Next, coming to occurrence and formation of resins. This is very interesting. Okay, resins usually occur in different secretory zones or structures as end products of metabolism. So they are found in either schizogenous or schizolysigenous cavities or ducts. Okay, so they are this are the three different, sorry, these are the three different zones where the resins can be present. So now what is schizogenous and schizolysigenous? So schizogenous is nothing but the cell wall. If you look at the picture, the cell wall is intact and there is a vacuole kind of a that is a kind of a vacuole form, which is nothing but the empty space. And this empty space, the resins will be stored. Okay. Now, if the cell wall is intact, that means this is naturally occurring zone for reserve substance, which is a resin. Now, in this case, if you have to see, there is lysis, okay, or there is breakdown of the cells. So this is formed, this cavity is formed by the breakdown of the cell. So that is why it is known as lysigenous, okay. So resin cells, schizogenous or schizolysigenous ducts or cavities. Example is pine wood. Here the example is ginger, and it can be also stored in case of glandular hairs. Okay, glandular hairs are nothing but glandular trichomes. Okay, it can be also stored resins. In case of cannabis, okay, it is stored in the form of glandular hairs. Okay, so here resins are not stored in the stem, say, bark, wood, leaf, but instead it is stored in case of schizogenous or schizolysigenous ducts. Now, how the form, this is about the occurrence, how the formation takes place. A single incision can drain the resin from considerable area of the plant. Turpentine, which is a naturally produced, but some resins are produced only when cambium is injured. Okay, what is the cambium region? What is the cambium region?
The secondary growth of plant takes place from cambium.
Correct. So basically it is where located.
It is surrounded by vascular bundles.
Correct. That is the where that is the thing which I wanted. Generally, it is a region between phloem or xylem, phloem and xylem. Okay, or it is surrounded by vascular bundles. Okay, and when this region is injured, that time you can see a considerable amount of resin being produced. Such resins formed by the injury of the cambium and the formation of secondary wool are also called as pathologically produced resin. Okay, so resins are of two types. One is only it is produced after the injury of the plant, and other are physiological resins which are naturally present in the plant. Okay. Next, we come to classification of resins. So classification is done on four different types. Okay. So now in the first type, that is on the basis of its formation, whether it is a physiological produced resin or it is a pathologically produced resin. So they are physiological resins are formed as a normal product of metabolism without making injury to the plant. Example is pine resin. Okay, which you can see here in the picture that they are produced physiologically. Okay, pathological are formed as a result of wound, injury, or abnormal circumstances. Example is benzoin, colophony, and balsam. Okay, like you can see in this picture, there is injury made to the cambium region. Okay, and then the resin will ooze out. Okay, then the resin will ooze out. Next is on the basis of their occurrence with secondary metabolites. So first one is oleoresin. If you have a look, oleoresins are naturally occurring mixtures of volatile oil and resin. So on the basis of occurrence, मतलब क्या, वो secondary metabolite दूसरे और कोई secondary metabolite के साथ भी present होगा. ठीक है. Now what are secondary metabolites?
These metabolites are not used by body, they are excreted, whereas primary metabolites are used by the body.
Somewhat correct. Not 100%. Means the definition is incomplete. Okay, so primary metabolite you said very well. Secondary metabolites are compounds which are yes, it is they are secretory products or excretory products, but they are products of metabolism. Okay, so that is why, and they are not used by the plant itself. Okay, they are considered as waste, generally as waste products by the plant, but they have a therapeutic value in case of humans. Okay, so बहुत सारे सेकेंडरी मेटाबोलाइट्स है जिसमें से रेजिन्स एक है, वोलेटाइल ऑयल्स है, अल्कलॉइड्स है, ग्लाइकोसाइड्स है. ओके, सो दिस आर डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ सेकेंडरी मेटाबोलाइट्स. टैनिन्स है. ओके, उसमें से हम लोग रेजिन का कौन से मेटाबोलाइट से दूसरे सेकेंडरी मेटाबोलाइट के साथ कॉम्बिनेशन है वो स्टडी कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, तो ओलियो रेजिन मतलब क्या? Oleo means oil, so volatile oil and resin. Okay, example for this is capsicum and Canada balsam. Gum resins मतलब क्या? रेजिन होगा और गम होगा, तो रेजिन एसोसिएटेड विद गम. एग्जाम्पल इज मैस्टिक. थर्ड इज ओलियोगम मतलब volatile oil, gum and resin together. Example is Guggul or Myrrh. This is the picture of Guggul. Next is glycoresins. That means it is combination with sugar compounds. Okay, glyco means glycosides, which is sugar compounds via glycosidal linkages. Example for this is gelap and ipomia. And fifth one is balsam, where resin is in combination with benzoic acid or cinnamic acid, either free or combined. So balsams are nothing but combination with benzoic or cinnamic acid. Okay, so this is on the basis of occurrence with secondary metabolites. सबसे पहले हमने देखा on the basis of formation, whether it is pathological or physiological. Next is classification of resins. Okay, so on the basis of chemical constituents, it is classified as acid resins, ester resin, resin alcohol or resinol, and resins which are inert chemically. Okay, acid resins मतलब क्या? कोलोफोनी, उसमें क्या होगा? अबायोटिक एसिड एज द मेन कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट और प्राइमरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट. ओके, सैफेटिड में सैंड्राकोलिक एसिड होगा, मीर में कोमिफोरिक एसिड होगा, एंड कोपाइवे में कोपाइविक एसिड होगा. ठीक है, एस्टर में क्या होगा? एस्टर विल बी द मेजर कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट लाइक कोनाफिरल बेंजोएट in case of benzoin and cinnamyl cinnamate in case of thorax. Resin alcohols means alcohol is the major constituent. They are also known as resinotenols. Okay, like peru resinotenol in case of peru balsam. And last is resins which are present, which are inert chemically. Example is hing, which is Asafetida, and amber. So this is the third type of classification of resins. Okay, so these are the three different types how the resins can be classified. Okay, so Nitya, can you tell me this once the classification, मतलब पूरा नहीं, डिटेल में नहीं, three different कौन सा देखे हमने?
Okay, the classification first we saw was based on the formation of resin, that is whether
Yes.
it is obtained physiologically or pathologically. Physiologically, resins obtained are the natural end product. They are obtained without causing any injury to the cell. Example,
Yes.
pine resin. And pathological resin means due to some injury, resins are obtained. Means like injury to cambium can produce the resin. These are known as pathological resin. And
Yes.
second one we observed, we studied on the basis of occurrence, that is oleoresin, example capsicum, gum resin, example matchstick, and oleogum resin, example mint, and glycoresin, example jalap, and balsam, that is, it is a combination of benzoic acid or cinnamic acid with resin,
Yes.
example
Yes.
tool.
Yes.
And now, based on the chemical constituent, we studied
Yes.
acid resin, example colophony. It consists of abiotic acid, and Myrrh. It consists of commiphoric acid. Second one is ester resin. It example benzoin. It consists of coniferyl benzoate. And third
Yes.
one is resinol or resin alcohol. And the last is resin. Actually, I am yet to write the example of these two.
It's okay. It's okay. Very nicely you have said. Very good. Okay. Next
Thank
we
you.
go ahead. Yes. We go ahead with yes. Extraction and class isolation of resins. Okay, this is a very important and attractive thing, how the resins are extracted. Okay, so there are different methods how the resins are extracted. One you can see is by extraction with alcohol and precipitation. Okay, so first it is extracted with alcohol, then on the basis of the solubility, solvent is added so that the resins can come out. Okay, so they are extracted by alcohol and precipitation. Example for this is jalap and podophyllum. Second is by distillation for separation of oil. Example is colophony and copaiba. Okay, so by distillation, basically if you see this is a colophony. Okay, और इसमें से अगर resin निकालना है तो they are distilled out. Okay, and then the oil is separated out. Third is by heating the plant part. Example is guavicum. That is basically by injury to the plant. Fourth is as plant exudates. Okay, so this is in case of physiological reason. In case of pathological, this has to be produced. Okay, some injury has to be made to the plant. So as plant exudates by incisions, example is Myrrh, balsams, and Asafetida. Then by collecting fossil resins. What are fossil resins? Like kauri kopal. What do you understand by fossil word? Yes, Madhura, can you help me with this? What do you understand by the word fossil?
Ma'am, it has been buried for a long time.
Correct, correct. So it has been buried for a long time. So this fossil resins, what you obtain, it may not be very pure. Okay, it may contain this dead organic matter of animals, small animals like cockroaches. Okay, or it may contain dead organic matter of some humans. Okay, so that is how this fossil resins come into picture. Okay, so kauri kopal are type of fossil resins. And last is by processing the encrustations. Okay, actually this is a very disheartened method of collecting resins, but yes, some resins have to be obtained like this because of its therapeutic importance. Okay, or commercial, I would say rather commercial or economic importance. Okay, now what do you mean by encrustations? They are nothing but the skin of the dead or live animals, for that insects for that matter. So one we are going to study which is shellac. Okay, Mm, which is obtained by processing the encrustations, that is the skin of the insects. Okay, so here we come to end of our first part, that is introduction to resins. Now let us start with our second part, which are drugs. Okay, first set of drugs that we are going to study. So first set of drugs which are we are going to study are एसाफोइटिडा. मतलब क्या? हींग. जो घर पे हींग होता है ना, दैट इज नथिंग बट एसाफोइटिडा. तो आज से हींग को एसाफोइटिडा बोलना स्टार्ट करो अगर नहीं पता होगा तो. ठीक है. देन देयर इज बेंजोइन, पेरू बाल्सम, टोलू बाल्सम, cannabis, गुगुल, turmeric and polosin. Okay, asafoetida, which is also known as devil's dung. Okay, it is also known as devil's dung. This is how the plant looks. Okay, and what we eat is the resinous material obtained from the rhizomes. Okay, so this is how it looks. Now, what is the biological source? It is an what type of resin? Oleogum resin. मतलब क्या? Volatile oil, gum or resin का combination, which means it is an oleogum resin, which is obtained as an exudation by incision of the decapitated rhizome and roots of Ferula asafetida, Ferula foetida, Ferula rubricolis, and some other species of Ferula belonging to family Apiaceae. Okay, so it comes under the Umbelliferae family. Why? The plant itself is an example here. Do you see that it has an umbrella type of inflorescence? Okay, so
Yes.
inflorescence is what? Arrangement of flowers. Okay, then we had studied arrangement of leaves, which was known as phyllotaxy. ठीक है, ये याद नहीं है तो माइक्रोस्कोपी मॉर्फोलॉजी यू कैन ग्रो थ्रू. ओके, सो असाफोइटिडा इज कम्स अंडर द फैमिली ऑफ अम्बलीफेरे. तो अभी ये याद होना चाहिए, कभी भी असाफोइटिडा आया तो ये पिक्चर ध्यान में रखना, तो याद आएगा कि इट इज अम्बलीफेरे और एपिएसिए फैमिली. देन इट इज एन ओलियोगम रेजिन. ठीक है, ओलियोगम मतलब वोलेटाइल ऑयल, गम और रेजिन तीनों का कॉम्बिनेशन है. ओके, तो ये जो दिख रहे हो ना, देख रहे हो तुम लोग ने तो पाउडर्ड हींग ही देखा होगा. ओके, बहुत कम लोग हैं, अगर गांव में कभी किसी ने हींग का देखा है तो वो ऐसे पत्थर के फॉर्म में होता है और उसको ही ग्राइंड करके देन यू ऑब्टेन दिस पाउडर फॉर्म ऑफ हींग. ओके, now how it is collected? Upon exudation and drying of the liquid, asafoetida is obtained. For the collection of the drug, the upper part of the root is laid bare and the stem is cut off close to the crown in March or April. Then the exposed surface is covered by a dome-shaped structure made of twigs and earth. After separating each slice, exudation of oleogum resin present as whitish gummy resinous emulsion in the schizogenous ducts of the cortex of the stem takes place. It hardens on the cut surface, which is collected, packed in tin-lined cases, and exported. Removal of the exudation and exposure of fresh surface proceeds until the root is exhausted. The yield is usually soft enough to agglomerate into passes and then it is packed. Okay, this one. But when you keep it in this form for a long period of time, like for years and years, of course, it is not going to take and catch any fungus as such because it is resin. So it already has its antifungal properties also. तो ये अगर बहुत सालों तक ऐसे ही रहने दिया तो वो एकदम कड़क हो जाएगा. Okay, then it is difficult to powder it as well. Otherwise, it's a very soft mass. Okay. Then what are the chemical constituent? अभी umbelliferae family है तो umbelliferone तो होगा ही. Okay. So it contains 40 to 45% of resin, 20 to 25% of gum, and 10 to 20% of volatile oil. The garlic-like odor of the oil is due to the presence of what? Sulfur compounds. Okay. Due to presence of sulfur, it has garlic-like odor. The flavor is largely due to R2-butyl L-propenyl disulfide and 2-butyl 3-methyl thioallyl. When I say thioallyl means sulfur containing. Okay, so thioallyl disulfide. Yes. Anyone? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Thioallyl means it has sulfur. Okay, but as mixture of diastereo, both has a mixture of diastereo isomers. So flavor और garlic like odor, ये किस वजह से होता है हींग का, that you should understand. Okay, drug also contains a complex mixture of sesquiterpene. So when I say sesquiterpene, that means जैसे हम लोग terpenes का classification पढ़ोगे ना, तो it is mono, sesqui, di, sesa, tri. Okay, so monoterpene is nothing but with single unit, which is C5H8. Okay, sesqui means 1.5. ठीक है, तो 1 unit plus half, that means it is C15 होता है. Okay, monomer has one is hemiterpene. Okay, hemi means half. Then there is monoterpene. Okay, so monoterpene has 2 units, that is C10. Okay, sesqui is 1.5, which means it has C15. Then there is di. ठीक है, तो ऐसे उसका मोनोमेरिक यूनिट्स मल्टीप्लाई होता है. ऑफ कोर्स वो हम लोग देख लेंगे बाद में भी, but this is how here this is a C15 compound. Okay, mostly it is either monocyclic or bicyclic terpenoid moiety. Resins consist of esters of azaresinothenol and ferulic acid, pinene, vanillin, and free ferulic acid. On treatment of ferulic acid with HCl, it is converted into an umbelliferone, which is a coumarin, okay, which gives blue fluorescence with ammonia. Okay, this is ferulic acid, and when it is treated with hydroferone, which is a coumarin. Okay, Asafetida also contains myristic acid, asafoetidine, poetidine, etc. What are the chemical tests? Now, in case of resins, there is no general chemical test as such. Okay? Each and every drug will have its own separate chemical test. On trituration with water, it forms a yellowish orange emulsion. The drug is boiled with HCl for some time, then it is filtered and ammonia is added to the filtrate. So a blue fluorescence is obtained due to presence of umbelliferone. To the fractured surface, add 50% of nitric acid, then a green color is produced. Okay, this is again due to presence of sulfur into it. Okay, due to, again, the fourth test is to the fractured surface of the drug, add sulfuric acid 1 drop. A red color is obtained which changes to violet on washing with water. What is uses? It is used as a carbonative, इसीलिए हर एक खाने में हींग डालना चाहिए थोड़ा सा. ओके, इट्स अ वेरी गुड कार्बोनेटिव, सो इट विल हेल्प इन डाइजेशन एज वेल. Okay, expectorant, antispasmodic, and laxative for flavoring curries, sauces, and pickles. Adulteration, galbanum, which is an oleogum resin obtained from Ferula galbaniflua. Asafoetida is adulterated with gum arabic, other gum resins, rosins, gypsum, red clay, chalk, barley or wheat flour. ठीक है, wheat flour तो is a very common example. अगर डायरेक्ट हिंग असाफोइटिडा ले रहे हो तुम लोग मार्केट से, ओके, powdered wala, that it can be easily adulterated with this. Okay, so it is recommended you take that entire blocks, okay, and then you crush it yourself. Okay, so but that is nowadays it's very difficult, no one has that much of time, so generally powdered hing is bought directly from the market. नेक्स्ट इज बेंजोइन. ठीक है, तो इसमें 2 टाइप के बेंजोइन है, एक है सियाम और एक है सुमात्रा, डिपेंडिंग ऑन इट्स कलेक्शन फ्रॉम वेयर इट इज कलेक्टेड. ओके, so siam benzoin is a balsamic resin derived from the stem of Styrex tonkinensis belonging to family Styraceae. Siam benzoin is again a pathological resin, so produced by incising the bark and by fungus attack. The stem of 6 to 8 years old plant is incised when balsam exudates. The resin is obtained in the form of liquid which is solidified. The plant is reported to contain neither secretory nor the resinous constituents. They are only produced after incising the plant. The initial produce, which is amorphous and yellow, is not used in the medicine, but the next flow which oozes out of the plant is collected and utilized for medicinal purposes. It is yellowish brown in color, like you can see here. Okay, so the second initial produce which will not be used for medicinal purpose, but the next flow which oozes out can be used for medicinal purpose. Now, what are the principal constituents of siam benzoin? It is coniferyl benzoate. Okay, other constituents are free benzoic acid, triterpene, cyanoic acid, vanillin, and benzyl cinnamate. It also contains insufficient cinnamic acid as compared to Sumatra benzoin. Okay. Now, when you heat Sumatra benzoin with 10% of aqueous potassium permanganate, a bitter almond-like odor is produced due to oxidation of cinnamic acid present in Sumatra benzoin, and this test is negative in case of Siam benzoin. So what is the difference? Okay, पहले Sumatra benzoin का chemical constituents देखते हैं, then we will come back. Okay, that was Styrex tonkinensis. Here it is Styrex benzoin belonging to family Styraceae. Okay, this is also somewhat same collection. It is a pathological resin which is formed by making incision and by attack of fungi. But in case of Sumatra, the seeds are sown in rice field. Okay, and when they are 7 years old, 3 triangular wounds are made in vertical row. Tapping consists of making in each trunk 3 lines of incisions, which are gradually lengthened. The first triangular wound are made in vertical row about 40 centimeter of the bark. Then the first secretion is very sticky and it is rejected, like in case of Siam benzoin. Further incisions are made at 3 monthly intervals and the secretion becomes crystalline. After 6 weeks, after each fresh trapping, the product is scraped off. The outer layer, finest quality, being kept separate from the next layer, which is of intermediate quality. Okay, so outer layer is of the best quality. Then about 2 weeks later, the strips is scraped again, giving a lower quality, darker in color and containing fragments of bark. Fresh incisions are made and the above process is repeated. Second exudation is milky white and it is used for medicinal purpose. Now, chemical constituents of Sumatra is it consists of balsamic acids like cinnamic and benzoic acid, about 25%, and their esters. The amount of cinnamic acid is usually double than that of the benzoic acid. So, if there is 15% of this cinnamic acid, okay, then benzoic acid will be only 7%. Okay, it also contains triterpenic acids like C-racemolic acid and fumaracemolic acid. Okay, traces of vanillin, phenyl propyl cinnamate, cinnamyl cinnamate, and phenyl ethylene. Okay, so cinnamic acid is high in case of Sumatra, whereas here the principal constituent is coniferal benzoate. Okay, so that is why Sumatra has gives this test very good as compared to CM. Then here to a PET ether solution of benzoin, 2 to 3 drops of sulfuric acid are added in a china dish. Sumatra benzoin, what color it will produce is reddish brown, whereas Siam will produce purple red color on rotating the dish. To alcoholic solution of benzoin, ferric chloride solution is added. Green color is produced in case of Siam due to presence of phenolic compound, that is coniferal benzoate, and this test is negative in case of Sumatra, which does not contain sufficient amount of phenolic constituents. Now, Siam is used as an antiseptic, culinary, and expectorant. It is used to prepare benzoinated lard, cosmetics, fixatives, and in perfumery. It is superior to the Sumatra benzoin with respect to antioxidative effects in lard and other fats. Sumatra mein uses is it is again used as expectorant, antiseptic, carminative, stimulant, and diuretic properties. It is used in case of cosmetic lotions, perfumery, and to prepare compound benzoin. It forms as an ingredient of inhalations in the treatment of upper respiratory tract infections in the form of compound benzoin tincture. Benzoin is used as an external antiseptic and protective and is one of the main ingredients of Pryor's balsam. Okay, it is one of the main ingredient of Pryor's balsam. Benzoin retards rancidification of fats and is used for this purpose in the official benzoinated lard, also used in case of food, drinks, and in incense. Okay, incense means incense sticks जो होता है अगरबत्ती. Okay, so उसमें भी this benzoin is used. Okay, adulterants to it is palembang benzoin, which is an interior variety produced in Sumatra and it is collected from isolated trees from which the resin has not been stripped off for some time. It is very light in weight and breaking with an irregular porous fractures. It consists of reddish brown resin with only a very few small tears embedded in it. Palmback benzoin is used as a source of natural benzoic acid. Okay. Next is balsam of Peru. Okay. So now these are two balsams. First we saw two benzoins, Siam and Sumatra. Now we will see two balsam, Peru balsam and Tolu balsam. So balsam of Peru, which is Peruvian, and balsam of Tolu. Now in this case, Peru balsam, it is obtained by incision of the trunk of Myroxylon balsamum belonging to family Leguminosae after the bark has been beaten and scorched. Scorched means nothing but it has been provided with some amount of heat and light with the help of torch. That is nothing but scorched. Okay. Now, if you see Tolu balsam, again the constituent is same. The myraxol and balsamum belonging to variety is different. Here it is harms belonging to family Leguminosae. Okay. Now, Peru balsam is a pathological resin again formed with when the plant is injured. The cracked bark is scorched with the help of torch. That is what I said. Okay. उसको scorch किया गया है torch की मदद से. That means some amount of heat and light is provided. Okay, for the injury to the plant. Within a week, the bark is dropped with the trunk, and the balsam resins begin to flow from the exposed wood. The injured part is covered with cloths or rags in which the rosin is absorbed. When the cloths are saturated with exudates, they are removed from time to time and boiled with water. On cooling, the water extracted balsam is settled out, which is removed, strained, packed in tin cans, and exported to get Balsami di Trapo. In what are the chemical constituents? It contains high percent of volatile oil. The drug contains balsamic esters like benzyl cinnamate, benzyl benzoate, and cinnamyl cinnamate. Resin consisting of Peru resinotenol combined with cinnamic and benzoic acids, alcohols, and small amount of vanillin and free cinnamic acid. Its alcoholic solution will give emerald green color with perchloride, and with potassium permanganate it is going to react to yield benzaldehyde. ठीक है, because benzyl cinnamate है ना, तो benzaldehyde का odor आएगा. Okay. Then Peru balsam is used as a miticide. Okay, miticide मतलब क्या? Mites. Okay, mites जो present होते हैं उसको kill करने में. So that is a miticide to aid in healing of indolent wounds as scabiecide and parasiticide in skin cattle. Diarrhea, ulcer therapy as local protectant and rubification. It is antiseptic and vulnerary, act as stimulant expectorant. Okay. Peruvian balsam is topically used as an antiseptic to treat burns, frostbites, cracks, erythema, pruritus, ulcer, and wounds. Then balsam of Tolu is a pathological resin again, and in this case, trunk tissues as a result of injury. Here, all the year except the period of heavy rains, by making V-shaped incisions in the bark and sept wood, it is collected. Then there are calabash cups. Okay, this is how it looks. This cup. Okay, they are known as calabash cups, which are placed to receive the flow of balsam. Many other incisions are made on higher portion on the trees. Collected balsam is transferred into larger tin containers and is exported. What are the chemical tests? Alcoholic solution will give green color with perchloride due to presence of tolu resinotenols. Then alcoholic solution is acidic to litmus, and when to the filtered solution, when potassium permanganate is added, it will give odor of benzaldehyde, which is produced due to oxidation of cinnamic acid. So this is what is similar to that of tolu balsam. Okay, here what it contains is 80% of resin with a mixture of resin alcohols. Okay, and that is tolu resinotenol combined with cinnamic and benzoic acid. In case of Peruvian balsam, we had seen it has high percentage of volatile oil. Okay, and mainly it has balsamic esters. Here it main is alcohol. That is the difference. The other constituents reported in the drug are benzyl benzoate, cinnamate, vanillin, styrene, eugelol, ferulic acid, mono and sesquiterpene, hydrocarbons, alcohols, and triterpenoids. Tolu balsam contains 35 to 50% of total balsamic acids calculated on the dry alcohol soluble matter. Balsam of Tolu is used as an expectorant, stimulant, and antiseptic. It is an ingredient of cough mixtures and compound benzoin tincture. It is also used as a pleasant flavoring agent in medicinal syrups. Now, adulteration, it is mainly adulterated with colophony and exhausted tolu balsam. In exhausted tolu balsam, the cinnamic acid is removed previously by heating. The adulterant can be identified by heating it with water and observing under microscope. Crystals of cinnamic acid are not seen. Dissolve balsam of tolu in petty ether and add double volume of dilute solution of copper acetate to it. PET ether takes emerald green color due to copper salt of abiotic acid that is present in colophony. So that is how the adulterant colophony can be identified in case of tolu balsam. Next we see is cannabis, which is an Indian hemp, also known as charas ganja. Okay. Now cannabis consists of dried flowering tops of the pistillate plants of cannabis sativa. Okay, what of cannabis sativa belonging to family Cannabinaceae. तो चरस गांजा जो होता है वो cannabis से ही मिलता है. Here the seeds are sown on seed beds in the month of August, and after a month the seedlings are transplanted into the open field. The male plant which have attained the maturity are shaken over the female plant so as to facilitate pollination. Then the flowering top of female plants are collected in case of February or March. They are made into bundles and treated under the foot to make flour or to form flat masses. Now these flat masses are dried under the shade to obtain ganja. In India, the tops are treated to form round masses which are called as ganja. So these are different cannabis products, okay? Ganja, bhang or siddhi or hashish and charas. Okay? ये एक बार क्वेश्चन आया है in case of GPAT. Okay, how is charas prepared? Okay, so ganja is obtained by 10% of its fruit, large foliage leaves and stems over 3 centimeter. It is also known as flat or Bombay ganja, with when 30 centimeter long pieces of the herb are made into bundles and pressed. Round or Bengal ganja is prepared by rolling the wilted tops between the hands. Ganja is legally produced only by a few licensed growers in Bengal and South India. Then bangs, which is known as siddhi or hashish, is consist of larger leaves and twigs of both male and female plants, smoked with or without tobacco. It is unfit for medicinal use owing to its deficiency of resin. It is also taken in the form of an electricity made by digestion with melted butter. Okay, and charas is a crude resin obtained by rubbing the tops between the hands and beating them on a piece of cloth. इट में ये ही जो जनरली देखा जाता है ना टबैको के साथ, दैट इज नथिंग बट चरस. इट मे बी कलेक्टेड बाय बीटिंग द फ्लावरिंग टॉप्स इन coarse cotton cloths spread on the ground. A greenish brown soft mass adheres and may be purified by pressing it through the cloths. The resin is scraped off, mixed with many smoking mixtures. Now chemical test. Shake about 0.1 gram of drug with 5 ml of PET ether to 1 ml of filtrate at 2 ml of hydrogen chloride in ethanol. At the junction of two liquids, a red coloration appears. Okay, so that is because again due to the chemical constituent that is present in case of cannabis. Okay, after shaking, the upper layer will become colorless and lower level becomes pink in color, which disappears on the addition of water. Okay, so constituents जो है उसमें which is 15 to 20% of resin. Okay, then it contains ether, alcohol, carbon sulfide. Most important constituent is cannabidiol, cannabidolic acid, cannabinol, cannabichromine, and trans tetrahydrocannabinol, which is the major active euphoric principle. So euphoria जो होता है ना, feeling of happiness, rather I will say false feeling of happiness. Okay, जो यूफोरिया होता है जिसकी वजह से लोग ड्रग एडिक्ट होते हैं. Okay, that is because of this THC. Okay, major active constituents that is present in cannabis. It also contains volatile oil, trigonelline and choline. Cannabis resin is tonic, sedative, analgesic, intoxicant, stomachic, spasmodic. So it has multiple usages, but mainly because of its psychic dependence, it acts only upon the nervous system. Okay, and that is why this drug is avoided to be used in case only and only when there is extreme pain. Okay, because it has a good sedative and analgesic activity ka combination. Due to third degree burn patients, in case of third degree burn patients, this cannabis can be used to give them a little relief. Okay, from the and little sense of happiness is also required in that patients to fight against the burns. Okay, so in that case, sometimes cannabis is used. Next drug that we see is Guggul, which is also known as Salai Gogil. Okay, it is a gum resin obtained by incision of the bark of Commiphora mucul. Okay, belonging to family Burseraceae. Here the collection is similar. Okay, the tree remains without any foliage for most of the year. Then it has ash colored bark and comes off in rough flakes, exposing the inner bark, which also peels off. Then the tree exudes a yellowish resin called gum gugul or gugulu that has a balsamic odor. Each plant yields about 1 kg of the product, which is collected in cold heap. So Guggul contains of gum essential oils, guggulsterols, okay, or guggulsterols, ZNA guggulsterol, cholesterol, sugars, etc. ZNA guggulsterol. So from here only you can make out that it is pentano perhydrophenanthrin ring, which is somewhat similar to the parent ring of the cholesterol. Guggul is helping in case of cholesterol levels, okay. To maintain them, okay, already which are there in the normal range. Okay, it cannot reduce cholesterol, but it help in maintaining the cholesterol level. It significantly lowers the triglycerides and cholesterol as well as LDL and VLDL. At the same time, it raises the levels of HDL cholesterols. Okay, it is going to raise the level of HDL cholesterols. It inhibits, that is the good cholesterol, inhibits platelet aggregation and may increase thermogenesis through stimulation of the thyroid, potentially resulting in weight loss as well. So it is also gum is astringent, anti-rheumatic, antiseptic, aphrodisiac, expectorant, emulsant, and immunogen. The resin is used in the form of a lotion for indolent ulcers as a gargle in teeth disorders, tonsillitis, pharyngitis, and ulcerated throat. Last that we see under this is colocynth, which is also known as bitter apple. Okay, colocynth is Citrus colocynthis, belonging to family Cucurbitaceae. They are ripe fruits. Plant is perennial prostrate herb, that is, it is rarely cultivated. The fruits are freshly in nature and are collected in autumn when they are ripe. The ripe fruits are what? Yellow in color. They are peeled off using a knife and dried under sun artificially. Okay. So here the bark को incise नहीं किया है, directly the fruits are used. And whatever is the dried pithy pulp of the ripe fruits, that is used as the resin. Okay. This microscopy you can go through yourself. Constituent is alkaloid, which is the main constituent present in the pulp of colocynth. It also contains amorphous resins that are ether and chloroform soluble. Then the other constituents are cucurbitacin E, L-tyrosine B, cucurbitacin D, dihydroalitericin B, or cucurbitacin L, fixed oil and starch. What is it? It has the hydropurgative, okay, stimulates or irritates the GIT. It also is prescribed with carminatives and it is used as an insecticidal to kill insecticides. Okay. Last drug from this particular presentation, that is turmeric. Okay, turmeric to pata hi hai sabko, haldi. Okay, this is how it is formed in the case of fresh rhizomes. Okay, belonging to families Zingiberaceae. So, two important antiseptic that is present in our kitchen is one is turmeric and another resin that we saw was what? Which one we saw another? Which had carminative activity? सबसे पहला drug देखा Yes, guys.
Asafetida.
Correct. Asafetida, which is hay. Okay. Turmeric plant, perennial herb, 60 to 90 centimeter high, with a short stem and tufted leaves. Rhizomes, which are short, thick, and constitute the turmeric of commerce. The crop requires a hot and moist climate. Sets or fingers. These are known as fingers, like of ginger. Okay. They are of the previous crop with one or two birds are planted 7 centimeter deep. April to August, the crop is ready for harvesting in about 9 to 10 months from when the lower level turn yellow. The rhizomes are carefully dug up with hard picks, washed and dried. This is the microscopy. Okay, TS basically of any other rhizome, how the TS is similar to that, but here it has endodermis as the first layer. Okay, then there are presence of vascular bundles, secretion cells, pigments. Okay, and sclerenchymatous fibers. Okay, cork cambium is developed from the subepidermal layers and even, okay, like you cannot see as such cork here in this picture, but here you can see there is presence of cork as well. Okay. Uh, yes. So the core cambium is developed from the subepidermal layers, and even after the development of the core, the epidermis is retained. Okay. Then the cork is generally composed of 4 to 6 layers of thin-walled brick-shaped parenchymatous cells. Parenchyma of the pith and cortex contains grains altered to a paste, in which sometimes long lens shaped unaltered starch grains of 4 to 15 micrometer diameters are found. Cortical vascular bundles are scattered and are of a collateral type. The vascular bundles in the pith region are mostly scattered and they form discontinuous ring just under the endodermis. Then the vessels have mainly spiral thickenings and only a few have reticulate and annular structure. Turmeric major constituents are curcuminoids. Okay. See, this is curcumin 1, dimethoxy, and bis dimethoxy. Curcumin. If you see here, curcumin, it is a replicating structure at both the sides with CH2 as its joining chain. Okay. Now when I say dimethoxy मतलब क्या, एक methoxy group चला जाएगा यहाँ से, and bis dimethoxy मतलब दोनों methoxy group चला जाएगा. So that are the constituents. The chief constituent of the coloring matter is curcumin 1, in addition with small quantities of curcumin 2, 3 and dihydroxy curcumin. Dihydroxy मतलब क्या, यही sorry, 2 additional hydroxy group. Okay. Then the volatile oil contain monosesqui, yes, monosesquiterpenes like gingiberine, sabinine, alpha phelangrin, terminor. Okay, other are, other constituents. Then the cholaretic action. This is very important. Of the essential oil attributed to beta tolulyl methyl carbinol. Okay, this is the constituent which is responsible for the cholaretic action of the turmeric. Okay, then these are very important chemical tests, interesting rather I will say. ये तुम लोग घर पे भी ट्राई कर सकते हो, या फिर घर पे नहीं एक्चुअली, because sulfuric acid will not be there at home. Okay, some you can try. Okay, turmeric on treatment with concentrated sulfuric will give red color. Then on addition of alkali solution to turmeric, red to violet color is produced. With acetic anhydride and concentrated sulfuric acid, it will give violet color. This reaction happens because of acetic anhydride. Okay. Then under UV light, this color is seen as the intense red fluorescence. Then the paper containing turmeric extract produces a green color with borax solution. And on addition of boric acid, okay, it changes to greenish blue color. A single piece of filter paper, when it is impregnated with an alcohol extract, dried and then moisture with boric acid, it is going to acidified with HCl, and re-dried, it is going to form pink or brownish red color, which becomes deep blue on addition of alkali. अगर इसका reaction समझना होगा ना, तो it is very easy. Just take some the chemical constituents, okay, और उसके साथ उसको react करके देखो. you will be able to see some insoluble complexes that is formed, and these complexes have specific colors, okay, because of which this colors you can see in case of turmeric. Okay, then it is used as an aromatic, anti-inflammatory, stomachic, uretic, okay, anodyne. Then for biliary calculus, stimulant, tonic, carminative, blood purifier, बहुत सारा uses है हल्दी का. Okay, उसमें से कोलागॉग and cholaretic action which is due to curcumin has to be remembered. Okay, the genuine drug is generally adulterated with the rhizomes of Acorcus calamus. Okay, so here we come to end of our first part of the drugs of resins. Now I will give you 2-3 minutes break, and then we will start with the next part of the resins. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
yes. So just take 5 minutes break and then you come back.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so I hope everyone is back again. Okay, we will start with the next set of drugs, that is jalap, podophyllum, ginger, capsicum, mead, colophony, and shellac. Okay, so when I say jalap, okay, jalap, which is the first drug that we are going to see today. Okay, it consists of a dried tuberous roots. Okay, of of Ipomia purga belonging to family Convolvulaceae. Okay, belonging to family Convolvulaceae. The
Hello,
plant
ma'am.
is, yes,
You
yes.
are
Tell
on
me,
mute.
I am not on mute. Am I not audible?
You are audible, ma'am.
I am not on mute. Just check once again your sound. Okay, it belongs to family Convolvulaceae. The plant is large and twining perennial herb, and it produces thin horizontal slender runners. Okay, adventitious roots which are of fusiform or napiform. अभी ये fusiform napiform क्या होता है? That is your 12th. Okay, if you don't recollect, just go through your basics once again. Okay, and are produced from the nodes of the runners. Okay, some of the roots remain thin, but few of them swell due to storage of starch. These roots are then collected after the rainy season, that is in the May. As a result of unfavorable environmental conditions, they are dried by wood fire in nets. Since the drug is artificially dried, it gains a smoky odor. Some slits are also made on the drug to facilitate the escape of the moisture. The chemical constituents are it contains 8 to 12% of glycosidyl resin, and the other constituents are mannitol, sugar, beta methaesculatin, phytostearine, ipurogenol starch, and calcium oxalate. Okay, jalap resin is a resinous constituent that has a soluble portion and an insoluble portion when dissolved in ether. So here, this important thing is the soluble states constitutes of 10%, whereas the remaining is insoluble. Now, ether insoluble portion is called as convolvulin, okay, convolvulin, and the ether soluble portion is known as julapin. Okay, so ether soluble is known as convolvulin, and insoluble is known as convolvulin, and ether soluble is called as julapin. Convolvulin is a substance with some 18 hydroxyl groups esterified with valeric, tiglic, and hexogonic acid. Hexogonic acid is nothing but this. In the picture, it is shown. It is 3669 dioxy dodecanoic acid. Okay, jalap can stimulate the intestinal secretion, acts as a laxative in small doses and purgatives in large doses. It is also a hydrogogue cathartic. Cathartic, purgative, and laxative में क्या difference है? Just go through once. Okay. That take it as an assignment. What is the difference between these three terminologies? Cathartic, laxative, and purgative. Next drug that we will see is colophony, which is again a gum resin. If you remember, this is an example of a physiologically obtained resin. Okay, solid residue left after distilling of the volatile oil from the oleoresin obtained from Pinus palustris, that is long leaf pine, and other species of Pinus such as Pinus pinaster, Helpensis, Masoniana, Tabuliformis, Caribaceae, belonging to family Parnaceae. Pinaceae. Okay, that is nothing but from the pine wood trees देखा होगा ना जो बड़े बड़े मूवीज में दिखा रहे ना बड़े बड़े trees. Okay, पहाड़ों पे generally they are nothing but pine trees. Okay, collection of oleoresin is very laborious procedure. Okay, although colophony is a normal, that is physiological obtained resin of the pinus species, its amount is increased by injuring the plant. Okay, for its collection, a few feet long groove or blaze is made in the bark with the help of a knife or some other instrument. Then a metal or earthenware cup is attached below the groove by nails. The cup is adjusted accordingly when the size of groove increases. The resin is taken out at different intervals and sent for further processing. So although it's a physiologically obtained resin, but if you want to increase the yield of the resin, then injury has to be made to the plant. Then it contains resin acids, resins, and fatty acid esters of the resin acids. About 90% are isomeric, alpha, beta, and gamma abiotic acid. Other 10% is a mixture of dihydroabiotic acid and dehydroabiotic acid. Before distillation, the resin contains excess amount of pymaric acid. And during distillation, the pymaric acid is converted to abiotic acid. So if you remember, this comes under the class of acid resin. Okay. The other constituents of colophony are sphenic and a hydrocarbon. Now, when the solution of powdered resin in abiotic acid, 1 drop of conc sulfuric acid is added in a dry test tube, purple color is produced, which is readily changing to violet. Okay. Then to the PET ether, solution of powdered colophony, twice its volume of dilute solution of copper acetate is shaken. Then the color of petroleum ether layer changes to emerald green due to what? Formation of copper salt of abiotic acid. Because abiotic acid will go into the ether layer. And when finally alcoholic solution of colophony water is added, it becomes milky white due to precipitation of chemical compounds, and it turns blue litmus to red due to presence of acid. Then it is used as a stiffening agent. Generally colophony को soak करके रखते हैं बहुत time तक. Then it is used as a stiffening agent in case of ointments, adhesive plasters, and steroids, and as a diuretic in veterinary medicine. That is with sufficient amount of dose. अगर normally use किया गया है as a resin, then generally it will not have diuretic properties. Commercially, it is used to manufacture varnishes, printing ink, cements, etc., etc. Okay, and abiotic acid has antimicrobial, anti-ulcer, and cardiovascular activity. Some also have filmogenic, surfactant, and antioxidant properties. Next we see is ginger. Okay, belonging to family Zingiber officinale, belonging to family Zingiberaceae. Ginger, which is also known as soot. Okay, or sooty. Okay. So again, rhizomes are soaked here overnight. Next morning, they are scraped with a knife to remove the core, and then litter of parenchyma they are washed again and dried under the sun for a week. Okay. Then unbleached Jamaica is what? Nothing but rhizomes are turned by the sides at regular intervals to facilitate drying. Okay, this is known as unbleached Jamaica or the uncoated ginger. Then coated or the unpeeled variety is prepared by drooping the rhizome for a few minutes in boiling water, and the skin is removed such that the layer on the flat surfaces is removed, but not in the groove between the branches. ओके सो ये जो ग्रूव होता है बीच में बिटवीन द ब्रांचेस ओके यहाँ से वो लेयर स्किन का नहीं निकालेंगे ओके then it is treated with sulfuric acid or chlorine or dusting it with calcium sulfate or calcium carbonate. So ginger is somewhat similar to turmeric. Okay, in case of microscopy, if we see, there is presence of cork, outer cork. Okay, then there is oleoresin cells since it's a rhizome. Then there will be vascular bundles. Sealed is nothing but arrangement of vascular bundles. It will be endodermis, and this is the cambium region that you can see here. Okay. Yes. So that is about ginger. Okay. Yes. Chemical constituents may it will contain volatile oil, then pungent resinous Mars is also present, and starch. Now, volatile oil present is responsible for the aromatic odor and the pungency of the drug is due to the yellowish oily component, which is called as what? Gingerol. ठीक है ये याद रखना है. The aromatic odor is due to the presence of gingerol, which is actually pungency is due to gingerol, sorry, which is actually odorless. Okay, it is formed in the plant from phenylalanine, malonate, and hexanol. Pungency of gingerol can be destroyed by boiling it with 2% of potassium hydroxide. Okay. Then it is used uses तो ginger का पता है बहुत सारे है spasmolytic, aromatic, anti-emetic, positive ionotropic, carminative, condiment, and flavorant. Okay. It is also prescribed in case of dyspepsia, flatulence, colic, vomiting, spasms, etc., etc. It can be adulterated with by addition of warming drug or spent ginger, which has been exhausted in the extraction of resins and volatile oils. This adulteration may be detected by the official standards for alcohol soluble portion, water soluble portion, total ash, and water soluble ash. Sometimes pungency of exhausted ginger can be increased by addition of capsicum. So going to capsicum next, okay, capsicum minimum or capsicum annum belonging to family. These are ripe fruits, okay, Solanaceae. So they are handpicked, okay. Unripe fruits are fade to pale buff upon color. So depending upon the color, the quality of the drug is decided or determined, okay. Chemical constituents, it contains mainly fixed oils, oleoresins, capsicutine, capsico, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Then capsanthin is the main carotenoid of red fruits. Okay, red fruits का जो main carotenoid present है is nothing but capsanthin. It also occurs as monoester and diester along with cryptocapsin. Other carotenoids include zeaxanthin, capsorubrin, rubixanthin, phylofluin, capsanthin epoxide, capsanthin uh, epoxide 3,6, okay, then luteolin, tocopherol. Carbohydrates are also present as well as tocopherol, that is vitamin E, is also present in trace amounts. This is the structure of capsanthin, okay, that you can see here. Use may, it is used as has been used externally as a stimulant, counter irritant, rubeficient, and sore throat, hoarseness, and yellow flavor. Okay, so it has many use. The normal capsicum also has this many of the uses because of its presence of resinous content. Okay, then allied drugs में Japanese chilies है, okay, and which is known as capsicum frutescens, and also there is Bombay capsicums, which is known as capsicum annum. Okay, they are the allied drugs. Remember, they are not adulterants, but they are the allied drugs. There is difference between both terms. Next is Myrrh, which is a oleogum resin obtained from the stems of Commiphora molmol. Okay, we saw Commiphora mucul. What was that? Guggul. And this is Myrrh, which is Commiphora molmol. Genus is same, species is different. Or Commiphora abyssinica, belonging to family Burseraceae. Okay, so collection is somewhat similar only. Chemical constituents are resin, gum, volatile oil. So it is an oleogum resin. Okay, and it has large portion of resin which is ether soluble. Alpha, beta, gamma, comiphoric acids are present. Volatile oil is a mixture of fuminic aldehyde, eugenol, cresol, pinene, limonene, dipentene, and 2-sesquiterpene. Then the disagreeable, okay, disagreeable odor of the oil is due to mainly the disulfide. Gum contains proteins and carbohydrates, which is a mixture of galactose, arabinose, glucuronic acid, and an oxidase enzyme. Chemical test, yellow brown emulsion is produced on trituration with water. Ethereal solution of Myrrh will turn red on treatment with bromine vapors. And this solution becomes purple with nitric acid. Uses are same, carminative, antiseptic. Then, yes, Myrrh is used in case of tooth powders and mouth washes. It is used in a tincture, paint, gargle, and rinse due to disinfecting, deodorizing, and an inflammatory conditions of the mouth and throat. Okay. Then there are 4 varieties of delium which are present of this. Perfumed or scented delium or bisabol is obtained from Commiphora erythea variety glabrescens. Okay. It resembles soft meat in appearance but more aromatic odor and does not give a violet color. Next is podophyllum. If you see podophyllum, it looks like somewhat similar to that of the ginger or turmeric fingers. Okay. It consists of podophyllum, rhizomes of podophyllum peltatum. Okay. Podophyllum peltatum belonging to family Berberidaceae. Okay. Which is the family Berberidaceae. Collection is again same in case of autumn. The rhizomes are dug up, okay, and then you can obtain those rhizomes, okay. This do not need any injury to the plant. The rhizome itself has sufficient amount of resin present in it, okay. Chemical constituents are resinous material, termed as podophyllin. Major constituent of podophyllin resin are lignan derivatives, okay, which is podophyllatoxin, okay. The lignans are used in the form of glycoside and also in their free glycons. It also contains desmethyl podophyllatoxin, desoxypodophyllatoxin, podophyllatoxone, and a flavonoid quercetin and starch. Now, podophyllum resin or podophyllene shows cytotoxic activity used for the treatment of venereal and other warts. Podophyllatoxin is semi-synthetically converted to a potent anti-cancer agent, which is that etoposide. ये important point हाँ याद रखो. It is a potent anti-cancer agent. Podophyllatoxin is converted to etoposide, which is mainly used for treatment of lung and testicular cancer. Okay, and it is a strong gastrointestinal irritant, acts as a drastic purgative in moderate doses, but it has also been replaced by other purgative drugs. Then there is something called as Indian podophyllum, which consists of again same. The biological sources species is different. It is Podophyllum hexandrum, belonging to family Berberidaceae. Okay, collection and preparation is same. Chemical constituent of Indian podophyllum is similar to peltatum. Only podophyllum resin present to the extent of 6 to 12%, which contains 40% of podophyllatoxin. So it has good anti-cancer activity, we can say, because that will be further converted to etoposide. The reaction of podophyllin resin alcohol extract with a strong solution of copper acetate develops brown precipitate for Indian podophyllum, whereas for American drug, it is going to produce green color without precipitate. So this is also one of the distinguishing tests of Indian podophyllum and American podophyllum, which is Podophyllum peltatum. Then Podophyllum hexandrum closely resembles peltatum in its pharmacological activity. It is largely used for the preparation of Podophyllum resin. The last drug for resin, which is shellac or lac. Okay, lac का कड़ा मिलता है, पता है lac की bangles मिलती है. That is from shellac itself. It is a resinous protective secretion of the tiny lac insect, which is what Laccifer lacca, belonging to family Laccidae, which produces the bulk of commercial lac in India. The insects secrete a thick resinous fluid which envelops their bodies, and the secretions from individual insect police and form a hard continuous envelope over the twigs. After the completion of the life cycle, and just around the time the larvae of the next generation begin to emerge, the twigs are harvested and the encrustation scraped off, dried, and further processed to produce the lac of commerce. The crude lac is known as stick lac, and is not used in the industry after refining. The chemical constituents of lac consist of 7 to 80% of resins, sugars, and coloring matter. Okay, aluritic acid, which is the main constituent, and about 35% of resin, while chloic acid its isomer along with carolic acid and butyric acid. The coloring matter contains lactic acid, which is water soluble. Now, when you add a few drops of mixture of ammonium molybdate and 3 ml of sulfuric acid to 50 mg of shellac, a green color is produced, and it becomes lilac or pinkish purple on standing for 5 minutes. Lac is used for the manufacture of sustained release medicaments. Okay, so this we come to an end of resins. Okay, now we will just, yes, Nitya, any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we will just solve few MCQs for your reference. I want Nitya and Madhura both to open your chat boxes, or you can just keep your mic on and help me with this few MCQs. Okay. Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes. So we start with few MCQs. Resins are classified into the following substances except what?
Ether.
Correct. Ether is resin ether is nothing in case of classification. Next question. If the resin contains benzoic acid, okay, if it contains benzoic acid or cinnamic acid, they are called as what?
Balsam.
Correct. Balsams. Just 1 second. I'm trying to move the screen a bit. Yes. Resins are defined as what?
B. Oxidation product of carboxylic acid and
Carboxylic
terpenes.
acid and terpenes. Correct. What is oleogum resin? Very easy. This is
Volatile.
B.
B.
no. It is D. That is homogeneous mixture of volatile oil, gum, and resin. Which amongst the following is classified as resin alcohol? Okay, so answer is C. That is balsam of tolu. Okay,
Yeah.
मतलब
It consists of
yeah,
benzoic
tolu
acid.
resinotenol. Yes, correct. Tolu resinotenol. Okay. Colophony is and what type of resin? Acid resin. Biotic acid देखा है ना हम लोग ने उसमें. It's a type of acid resin.
Yes.
Then resins are what?
All of the above.
Correct. All of
All
the
of the
above.
above.
Which amongst the following is an example of oleogum resin? Easy tha, guys. Asafetida, it has volatile oil, gum, and resin. All the three. Which among the following gives the blue fluorescence on boiling with hydrochloric acid? ये भी हमने किया है आज ही.
B.
Answer is B. Correct. Umbelliferol. Tyrex, tonkinensis is a biological source of what?
Sumatra benzoin. No, Siam.
Siam. Correct. Siam.
Siam, sorry.
Sumatra का क्या था? It was Tyrex benzoin. Okay. Volatile oil trigonelline and choline are major constituents of which of the drugs?
Colophony.
Answer is D. Cannabis.
Okay.
THC पढ़ा था ना उसमें cannabis में ही. तो trigonelline choline वहां पे ही है. So you can
Sorry.
also take this whether oleogum resin है क्या वो oleo resin है क्या वैसे याद करके भी कर सकते हो ये. ठीक है?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here we come to end of our today's lectures. Any doubts anyone has, or we can then stop here?
No doubts, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, I hope it's well understood. Madhura, you have understood it?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
everyone. Yeah, thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am.